Hello, Baker Finance students. I want to introduce myself. I'm Joe Barnhill. I'll be your instructor for your corporate finance course. So we'll be carrying this over many weeks. So it's an 8-week course, but we get some breaks there. But anyway, I wanted to first start off just to give you an overview of the course. We look a lot in this course about the time value of money, decisions about corporations and their investment projects. We look at financial markets. And the thing I want you to do too also is how does this tie into our personal lives? There's a lot of carryover from corporate finance to personal finance when we make decisions. So I want you to gather some of those skill sets, especially with the time value money calculations and how I might be able to help yourself make better decisions relative to your own personal finances. So, well, the first week we kind of ease into things. You'll notice that I have a forum discussion out there. I'd like you to, in one of the forum discussions, I want you to post which company you want to analyze for your PowerPoint presentation. As you read through the syllabus this week and look through the Moodle website about the different weeks, you'll notice that there's some various things you're going to have to do out there in terms of projects through the course. One is also an equivalent annual cost paper. But the final project, where you pick a company and you analyze it and you address all the questions, that will be due at the end of the course. So to make sure everyone's doing a different company, just post out there early what you want to do for your company analysis. Also, we have forum discussions every week. So when I encourage you to jump in those forum discussions early. I'll put a forum discussion out there weekly, usually on the weekend. So it's relative to a current topic or also tied into that chapter's readings. I will also do these videos every weekend. Right now it's Friday, and I know we start Monday, but occasionally I might put some out there Friday. But usually it's going to be like Sunday afternoon when the week's wrapping up. Then I'll post the coming week's video lecture to kind of give you an overview of that week. With this week, you do have a forum discussion also tied to Dunkin' Donuts and some of their transitions they're going to. So I've asked you to post a question or look at the questions, post a comment on it. You read a story about Dunkin' Donuts and also a quick video from their CEO. And how does this tie into some of the things we're studying in corporate finance? So as long as you look at those questions, and I want you to make a significant post. Usually that means about 2 paragraphs. In this post, I want you to include a reference to some of the research you can do about Dunkin' Donuts or something related to that industry. It can go a lot of different directions. They even talk about the minimum wage and how that may impact this industry. So make sure you make your initial post by Thursday. It's a substantial post. And then also you make a significant reply to at least 2 of your peers on a comment, question, or try to delve deeper into conversation relative to that topic. And, significant replies should be probably a paragraph in length and not just be statements that say, I agree. So we want some depth. I always like to think when you make a forum post, any paragraph development, as long as you have what I call the triple EX, exposition for a thesis statement, plenty of examples, and then finally explanation. How does this all tie together and what you're trying to make your point? So this week we're going to look at chapters 1, 2, and 3. We kind of look at my notes here. Chapter 1, we kind of look at governance. And with this, you think about how organizations are structured. Typically, when you think about the CFO on top, and they break it down to a controller side and a treasurer side. My background was in treasury. I'm a certified cash manager. I work for Fortune 500 companies in managing their cash, and they're investing in short-term borrowing and long-term borrowing in the capital markets. But I would work closely with the accountants on the accounting side. And then in terms of, we think about additional things to think about in governance. The goal of our leaders of the companies is to maximize shareholder wealth. So one of the things you'll read about in the Dunkin' Donuts video in the article is that once news went out that about 100 stores were closing and they were having some issues, that the share price went down about 11 to 12%. So it was a reaction to the market. And the market's going to take any information or news that they hear, and they're going to adjust that stock price accordingly. But again, the leaders' roles, we call the principal agent theory. The agents are the managers that we hire to run the companies, and as principal holders, those that own the stock, we want them to try to take on actions and decisions that are going to increase my shareholder value. Well, in Chapter 2, you spend some time on financial markets. You think about this, they talk about the primary market. When I think about this is IPOs, when securities are first issued. Most of what we see and hear about in the news is the secondary market. That's when they're actively traded. They also mention the money market. Money market is anything that matures in 1 year or less. This can include commercial paper, repurchase agreements, treasury bills, money in just checking accounts. So also the concern of liquidity. And liquidity to me means the ability to convert to cash without the loss of value. And that's what financial markets provide. There's financial institutions such as insurance companies, pension funds, banks that are in these financial markets. And it's the exchange between borrowers and savers, or if you would call investors. They're looking to get a higher rate of return by engaging in this process. And for the most part, our markets are pretty efficient and they work well. But of course, as we saw in 2008, as the textbook points out, there were definitely some issues, questions about how much regulation is needed in markets. The last chapter, in Chapter 3, you're going to look at how we track our performance of a company. We look at the balance sheet, which is kind of a snapshot in time of our assets to our liabilities. You look at an income statement, so you kind of like revenues minus your cost. I like to call it the soup, what is left over. And then also a statement of cash flows. So when you're looking through this Chapter 3, I want you to kind of be looking back all the time, especially with the statement of cash flows. Where was this change on the balance sheet from this point to this point, or on the income sheet to this point to this point? So see if you can make sure you understand how those cash flows change, and also, understand why that if I increase accounts payable, that means I actually have more cash available. Or if I increase accounts receivable, well, I don't actually have that money yet. I'm waiting to get paid. So you'll kind of read about those examples and kind of make sure you feel comfortable with those examples. Now, your homework problems are always going to be like a week lag, so I'll give you a chance to work with material. And so our homework problems, Chapters 1, 2, and 3 will be due the following week. But do send me emails if you have any question. But otherwise, our course officially kicks off on Monday. And I will be in there too on the forum discussions, jumping in there and tracking that daily. But otherwise, I look forward to working with all of you over this next 2 months plus. Otherwise, have a great week and take care. We'll talk to you soon.